you guys for coming. My name is Michael Prentice. I'm with GDG Space Coast in Cape Canaveral, Florida, in the USA.
Yeah, Oleg will be probably here in the middle, and he's from GDG Lviv.
This is Oleg.
And I am Tahsin from GDG Istanbul.
And I'm Oleg from Lviv, Ukraine.
Okay, here is the general agenda for today's session. We're going to give some brief introduction, and then we're going to get into the different apps that we build, have some updates that we've had over the last year, and then we'll talk about the meetup integration and some other things. And this agenda is not quite in the right order. So, what is GDG-X? It is an organization of both GDG organizers and members. So you can tell your members in your chapter that they can get involved. So please, we'll put these slides out, and we'd love for you guys to share these slides out to your regional group at the regional summit or your chapters locally as well. And get your members, if they're looking to get into contributing to open source, let them know. We've got Android, Firebase, Angular, Polymer, things like that. Everything's open source and on GitHub. And so we'll get into really quickly just going through the different projects that are kind of the main focus. There's some other little projects, but we're going to hit the main ones here.
So this is the Android application. The code name is Frisbee, and we have this join beta link right now. I think we will share the slides as well. We are regularly updating the beta channel as well, and this is a short link to the application. Yeah.
Who here has the GDG application installed?
And who received a notification in the morning today?
Nobody. It didn't work for them. There was a special summit notification that should have gone out this morning for those running the latest GDG Android app. But please download it, give it a shot. There's achievements and a tagging game where you can do NFC and tag different organizers, and there's a leaderboard, things like that. We have a chapter website where you can, within just a couple minutes, spin up a new website for your chapter, and then point your custom domain at it, and then you don't have to actually manage building a chapter website. And you can customize it, you can fork it, customize it if you want. If there's a piece you want to make a pull request to get it back in the baseline, you can do that. We've got the hub. So the hub is, the website itself is mostly for debugging. You'll notice there's way too much data. Like the calendar has every single event. It's not really for public consumption. It's for us to use and debug, because the hub provides APIs so that Frisbee and other apps that you build in your chapter can use the hub APIs. So that's sort of our developer center area. And then Firefly is built on top of the hub, and it basically gives you an event map based on the campaigns. So DevFest, IO Extended, things like that. You can see them on a map, and it does some location things, which Chrome just broke, but we're working on a fix for that. But you can see the events closest to you, the events that are next in chronological order, things like that.
And this is DevFest website template. It was built for DevFest 2014. And a new one is Project Forward. It's built using Polymer, Gulp using for a build system, and ES6. Just the latest features you can imagine.
So we're going to talk a little bit, a little different than, a lot of times in the past years we just talked about, here's our projects, we're writing code, but we're going to talk a little bit today just about how, working with GDG-X has had an impact on our lives.
So my idea of GDG-X is to share what you have created for your own group. For instance, you have created some app to manage people, and it works for your group, and it's a really nice idea to share it with the world. Maybe it will be helpful for another groups as well. Maybe so it will take.
Yeah. So it's also great to like play with latest APIs, latest and greatest APIs from Google. Like when a new API or SDK is released by Google, you can read documentations about it, but you usually like find hard to play with it, integrate it in your like professional applications. But like GDG-X projects are usually a really great place to play with. They are like a playground for us. And also for GDE related stuff, like open source projects are not mandatory for GDEs, but they are really highly encouraged. So like in the application, open source projects will impact a lot, and to maintain the GDE status as well, it helps a lot. The other great thing about GDG-X so far for all of us is code reviews and discussions. We are all around the world. Michael is in the US time zone, we are in the Europe, and we have some contributors from India as well. So it's really interesting and great. So for example, if I work something in the Europe time zone when I go to bed, Michael can review it when I am sleeping. That's been really nice so far. And also we may be students, we may work for some companies, and we have different experiences in those companies. And like in code reviews, we see that we learn about from those experiences a lot. So it's really great to share that knowledge.
Yeah, and as I said before, when you create something, share it with community, because it's really the best thing you can do with your project. To share, and maybe someone can improve it later on, or just suggest some ideas. For instance, now you can, if you found some bugs, you can create an issue, you can fix it. There is a lot of bugs right now, and you can pick up one issue and fix it. If you have some suggestions how to improve your project, and so on. And it's really a lot of fun when you make that project, because you play with edge technologies. You will find a lot of new friends when you build that. You will talk with some developers from Google, for instance. I was talking with Rob Johnson about Polymer and so on. So you will have almost direct access to the such high-level developers.
Okay, you want to tell your story
No.
So, I'm just going to tell my experience with GDG-X. I was a software developer at IBM. I was supporting developers all around the world, working remotely, and there were thousands of developers using ClearCase at that time. But one day, came along and my job got moved to China, and so I took a local job in Florida. And I ran into an issue that, they had a different way of thinking, and a lot of ideas and things like that, they didn't really want to hear those. They'd done it one way, and they liked it, safe in that way. So I struggled with this a lot. I looked at, okay, what is this sort of syndrome? I've studied a lot of software engineering, and usually for different kinds of dysfunction, there's some sort of name. So I was able to find one, and Eric wrote a great book. That's an ebook about it. And so he describes this process of, career and knowledge advancement. And it's very easy to go from a novice to an advanced beginner, and then sort of go off to the side and think that you've figured it out. And if you don't go to meetups and you don't go to conferences and things like that, you can get stuck in this little loop here. and you never look outside your own office. You think that what you're doing is great and it's working great, but it drives away a lot of developers who've got innovative new ideas, and they want to continue on, the expert path. So, being in this environment, I was incredibly unhappy. I was very stressed out every day. Work was just really a struggle. So I started writing code for GDG-X, contributing, and I was able to get a demonstratable experience that's out there on GitHub with AngularJS and Google Maps and REST APIs. Then I did a couple interviews and actually ran into a company that, once they heard and saw what I was doing, they were exactly doing the same thing, just with aviation data versus another data source. So within just a 15-minute interview, they said, "Oh, you're hired." So I told them, no, I want to go talk to you some more. But it was a great experience, and I've been working there for a couple of years now, and they very much value my contribution and ideas. And I'm able to work on things that are very much aligned with the GDG-X stuff, so I can do and try something in GDG-X, a new build system, a new tool, a new way of doing something. If that works out, I can then take that into work and actually have something that isn't just a new idea, but something that I know will work. So, this worked out great for me. I've had a couple promotions, and I think, directly, GDG-X directly led into this and was a great, contributor to, where my career has gone. So, the other thing, we've seen Udacity and other things. You can go online and you can get a certification and do all that. But another piece of kind of building out your career portfolio can be having this sort of GitHub experience that's out there that people can see that you're working. Because it's not just about writing code, it's about working with a team, and communication is a key part of any interview or any job. So if you can show them that you've been working with the team and you've had those interactions, that answers a lot of their questions when you first come into the interview.
So my story was I was starting to be active in the GDG local Istanbul community 3 years ago, and I was following GDG-X as well. But we had a startup at that time, and it was keeping me really busy. But I was always thinking about that. And just 2 years ago, when I come to Google I/O, our startup was broke, and then I was here unemployed. And after Google I/O, actually, I started contributing to the Frisbee application. And then after that, it really opened my mind, I would say. So it was a great experience, and also it helped me from being a local organizer to go global, because we had a lot of global friendships as well, thanks to these projects. And also I believe that this also affects my GDG path. I mean, GDE path. I mean, to become a GDE, being only local in your community is not helpful. So both that and being active in the open source community helped a lot.
And from my side, I use GDG-X just to learn something. For instance, last year, 2 years ago actually, with Zeppelin, I didn't know anything about Jekyll or some kind of site generator. But when I started to create it, I just started to learn it, to play with it. And now I'm playing with Polymer, because when I started Zeppelin, I didn't know anything about web components and so on. So if you want to learn something and you have one problem and it can be solved with its future, play with it, create something, and it will be really interesting. And also at my job, I'm using some all technologies, and it's not so fun. But I would like to create something new. I would play with edge technologies like Polymer Web Components and so on, Service Worker. It's really nice features. Nice. It's our future actually. So I'm using that in my side project as a hoverboard, just to implement it, to play with it.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming changes. You heard from Adriana this morning that DevSite is on the path to going away, and Meetup.com is the future. So we've been working with DevSite for a number of years. A lot of the APIs of the hub go out and actually pull data in from DevSite, and a lot of our other applications are directly hitting the DevSite APIs. So we have a lot of work to do to get those migrated off of the DevSite and onto Meetup, or onto our own APIs. So right now Meetup provides a map and some basic features, but one of the issues we have with DevSite is there can be a bug, or there's something on the map that we want to change, and there's no bug tracker. There's no issue that we can submit an issue to. We've got to send an email and track down the person, and sometimes that person changes from year to year. So it can be a pretty long and difficult process to get updates. So we thought about, okay, can we just get rid of some of things like the hub and Firefly, because Meetup has it now. Unfortunately, Meetup doesn't really do everything we need either. So we still need to have these additional features that GDG-X provides, and so we've been talking about, well, how do we do that with Meetup, and also how do we do that in a way, how do we step back and rethink it in a way that could be beneficial to more than just the GDGs, because we saw today together with Google that there's all sorts of different meetups like AngularJS and Kubernetes and cloud and things like that. TensorFlow meetups are starting to happen. They're not necessarily GDGs, and so how do we work with them, and should we be building a tool for GDGs that no one else could use? So one of the things we've been looking at is okay, if everyone's on Meetup, now we can build to that same API, and we can flip a switch so that we can have an Angular Meetup website that has all sorts of different features. We built this sort of over the weekend with Firebase and Angular 2. There was an Angular Attack Hackathon. And so this is all Angular, but then if we could just flip a switch and we have a GDG site that pulls from Meetup and has all the same information, but for the topic that they care about. So this is something we've been looking at. It's called GDG Nexus. You can try out the Angular version right here, and so you can play with it a little bit. Still a lot to do. On the roadmap, we've got some routing things we need to do. The new Angular 2 router is very new. There's a bunch of things. It's an RC1, so we're on the very cutting edge and working with that. There's a few things we need to improve for contributions, so it's still in incubating status. It's not completely open for contributors at this point, but you should be able to play with it locally, and we need to add more of the features that we want. So we want to do things in the future like speaker management and all sorts of different things based on Firebase at this point is our thought. So now we're going to present some of the updates in the last year, things that are new since our briefing last year.
So for the GDG Android application, I think it was a productive year for us. We first did the GDG leads integration. It's like if you logged in and if you're a GDG lead, you will get this tab. And these are all static and like useful links for every GDG organizer. There is a lot potential in this page, and we would like to improve it, like providing some dynamic links, maybe more resources, or updates for GDG leads. It's all static so far. Since we have gaming and achievements integration in the application. It's great. We don't want to get rid of it, but the login is so complicated with Google Games and Google Play Services APIs. So yeah, we did huge refactoring and it's better, and we have a lot to do still. And then we had up indexing and up invites integrations. So as you can see here, for example, Douglas is a speaker in this event. When you search the name, it shows up in the Google search application. And we have new GDG watch face from Jomar. He's here at GDG Summit as well. Yeah, and we are planning to integrate Women Tech Makers watch face as well soon. Yeah, and then we have really cool new achievements. Like most of them are secret, I think, especially the new ones. If you can play with the application, you may find them.
And so there's an arrow game where you can, through NFC, you can tag other organizers, and there's a leaderboard for who's tagged the most organizers. So at a global summit like this, it's a great opportunity to use the GDG Android app and get some achievements and play with that. So new for Boomerang, so this is the chapter website. We had a great contribution from a brand new contributor in India, added a code of conduct. So now your chapter website can have a clear code of conduct just out of the box. You don't have to create your own. And that's open for contributions as well. If you want to go in and change some of the language or things like that in there, we'll definitely review and accept pull requests. We also added a quick deploy through GitHub Pages, so within 15 minutes or so, you can fork the repository, change a config file, push it back up, and you have your site running on GitHub Pages with your chapter and your Google Plus news feed and your pictures and things like that. And then I'll show some of the responsive adaptive improvements that we did. We added some new features on the left here. A lot of questions come up with new people. Well, what is a DevFest? Or what is a hackathon? And so now on your site, they can come and they can have a brief idea of what those sort of events are like. And that's configurable, so you can, if you don't run hackathons, you can take that out and it won't show on your site. And then organizers, we added a new organizer page. And for adaptive UI, you can see on the left, we have a side nav for the menu. And on the right, on the desktop, we have tabs. And the left is mobile. So we added some nice new features using Angular material. And then hover.
I have a question. Who has been using the first template last years? Only one? Two? Okay. So it will be helpful for you. So basically, it's a template for your website, mostly for the first, but for sure you can use it for every event you want. It has adaptive design, material design responsive. It uses Polymer to implement everything. Recently I have added animations, so it now looks better than 1 year ago. And for sure it uses Service Worker, so now it's you can run it without internet. So you will just open it once. After that it will be cached, and you just can, because you know on conference there is a bad Wi-Fi connection, so it will be work without internet. Also there is integrated speakers and session manager, so it's really easy to manage your speakers data, some team page, and just to create schedule whatever you want. There is a new editable theme. Now you can generate your theme from materialpal.com, as you remember, the website. So you just select the two main colors. It will generate variables for you, and you just copy that values to a configurable file, and you will have that hoverboard with your choose theme. Also now it's using new features of ES6. So if you want to play with new features, come on and join my project. And it's really easy to deploy. Now you can deploy on a Google App Engine, on Firebase, and on your own SSH server. As an example, how to use it, you just clone the project, install all dependencies, its npm and bower components, then run gulp init. It's just to download analytics.js and fonts. If you want to debug it or just to try it locally, write a gulp server. And if you're ready to deploy, just edit configurable file where you want to deploy it, and just write gulp deploy, and it will do everything for you. This is actually a new version. It has not been merged yet to original project. There is a new header where you can edit details. Tashin was requested that feature, actually. There is a new ticket block. Previous one was really awful. I know. Now I had more time to create a better one. There is a block where you can show video recordings from previous years. A new block template, new design. And now when you open the blog post, you can add some comments we are discussing. It's really nice to get feedback from your attendees. Also, you can open a description of your speakers of your session with a dialogue. On Scale, you can filter your sessions. For instance, if entity only want to see web, stream, and Android, he will just turn off cloud, and cloud session will just disappear. And also, I have recently added a new page with Team. When someone would like to find you, to get contact with you, he can follow on this page and find every information about organizers. There is a little bit of roadmap. First of all, we would like to add GitHub Pages support, to add my scheduler feature just like I/O has now. Implement progressive about, because it's now fast, but not fast enough. We can make it better. Implement the idea of progressive about, and get better ES6 support. And for sure, we can use all features of Service Worker and add push notifications. To hosts, you can use Firebase free plan, but you will not have a custom domain, or you will pay $5 per month just to get a custom domain. But Firebase team give us a promo code for all instances of Horport, 1 year subscription of Candle plan for free. So if you'd like to use Firebase as hosting for your Horport instance, just fill that form, and we will send you a promo code that will discount you 1 year. It's $45 per month, so it's really nice. And how to get involved? We have a Google Plus community. It's a public one. You can write to us on this email if you'd like to join us, if you have some ideas. If you have some ideas behind the projects, you can write directly to GitHub chat. For instance, if you have some amazing idea about Frisbee, just go to that GitHub chat and propose your ideas, or whatever project you want.
And Gitter integrates with GitHub, so it's specific to each project. If you spin the project up at home and you run into an issue running it, or you run into some sort of problem where you're not able to deploy it or something like that, it's best to ask in the Gitter chat there. Someone will answer your question. We are distributed around the world though, so it might take you some hours between, depending on the time zone that you're in. But then if you've got something more substantial, like the discussion about a design or a new feature or something, then Google Plus community is probably the better place to talk about that. And you can follow us on Google Plus. We have a page there where we share news about new releases and things like that. And then on GitHub. Thank you guys very much. So we have a few minutes for questions. One question is, how much time do contributors typically dedicate to GDG-X projects?
Okay, for me it takes at least 2 hours per day. But
Every day or
sorry,
every day?
mostly every day.
More.
Like part-time job.
It takes a lot of time, but it depends
I
on
mean,
you.
Actually, I can say something about this. Like we actually, like after a question, we briefly, I told the same thing in the previous session. Like what we are looking for as a contributors is to to be consistent. Like for new projects, or if you want to contribute to the projects we have, what we need is for you to contribute regularly. I mean, it doesn't need to be too much.
It doesn't need to be 2 hours every day.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like, I mean, the worst thing is to like contribute once and disappear for months.
So
that's,
I mean, more behind that is, you know, we're not looking to have people use it as sort of a hackathon dumping ground. So we don't want you to do a hackathon and then say, oh, we want to put this in GDG-X, and then someone else will take care of it. If you want to propose a new project, we want you to be the maintainer of it and you to put in the time. So that's a bigger sort of time commitment. If you just want to help with the project, we would love it if you could fix one bug a month or one issue a month. That would be amazing contribution. Like you could spend 2 hours each month and we would love that. You would be very valued.
Yes, and for sure you can propose any ideas on GitHub issues. If you have some great ideas, or if you have found some bugs, for sure post it, because we would like to fix it. Or maybe someone of you will pick up that ticket and fix it.
And if, in the repositories, there's usually some issues, some bugs there. If you don't see anything that looks really good for, getting started, just jump in and get her and talk to us, and we can put something together for you to kind of get you started. There's lots of bugs that we have in our heads that we haven't written up, or there's some small change that you can get started with.
actually about that, we also just started adding labels, like good first issue, I think it is, right? It's yellow, and like those are the issues that we think that are easy to begin with. So yeah, we find that really helpful as well.
Question?
Can we contribute in another way or just code?
That was, yeah.
Design?
Design ideas.
We need a lot. We need a lot of design help. There's a lot of styling and CSS and coloring and other sort of feedback that we could use, animations and other things, art. We definitely need desperately help in those areas. Just updating text and typos. For Frisbee, it's translated into many languages, so you can contribute just by having help localizing it to your local language. And just, ideas are really helpful. To post those as, feature requests, things like that.
For Frisbee, actually, like we materialized the application for the past years. It looks much better now, but like I would like to redesign it. But like I have been looking for a design help. That would be really nice.
And
I think that's very good that you point that out. So I appreciate that the question came from that end as well. Because it's really easy for those of us who aren't that strong on the coding side to kind of go, oh yeah, we can't really contribute, can we? But
No, more probably than just about anything, we need design help for, Boomerang, for Firefly, for a lot of different things. We could definitely use some help, and any kind of like asset generation, being able to put together, Illustrator files, SVGs, other things that we could use across the applications, icons and things that we can use in Frisbee would be amazing.
And also, like, if you want to discuss more, we do monthly hangouts, like between us, but it's not public, but it's open to everybody, the GDG leads. So if you want to join that monthly hangout, like if you contribute actually, we will pull you in, but if you want to join as well to discuss, just email us or.
If you make, repeated contributions to one of the projects, it doesn't have to be all of them, but to one of them, then we'll add you to the organization. You'll automatically get invited to the monthly hangouts. And but if you have a new idea or you want to talk about something, let us know in the Google Plus community, and we'll invite you to the next monthly hangout, and you can sit down and talk with everyone, and we can work through a design or a different idea like that.
I have the question.
No problem.
For those who are not familiar with GitHub and also Gitter, because Gitter is it's just send an email. There's another way to reach out, like
You can even
giving
write.
ideas.
You can write even in Google Plus community.
Oh, now is that open?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's open. You just request to join, we'll let you in, and then you can ask whatever you need.
I mean, like, to contribute, actually, you need to like somehow learn how to do things in GitHub. Yeah, but
I
if you
think design is you should
no
be
except
necessary.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No code.
But-
Yes, definitely code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's also a really helpful thing as a benefit. Actually, we had like some people never used GitHub and they wanted to contribute and they learned actually how to do that. That's also a really nice thing.
Yeah, so we can help you, we can point you to resources, videos, things like that that'll help you learn Git or GitHub or whatever you need. We've got a lot of experience. We help our own teams do that, so we can help you. Also, we need help on wikis. A lot of our projects have very small wikis. So if you don't want to do code commits, you can create a wiki there. You can post screenshots of the app and how to use it. We would definitely love that. So any kind of help like that would be very valuable. Yep.
I got working profession like 4 months ago, and I joined one of your hangouts before I started working, and like it works. So you work on GitHub like creating pull requests, etc., those kind of things. And to be honest, before starting working, I was a little bit scared, like if I would do something like weird, or I don't know what can I fix there, or if I would create some very small PR, what will happen, etc. Like, will I be like, will it be weird, etc. But I think after starting working, I saw that actually small PR is also okay, or it's actually very easy to change some small thing and like improve the app like in general. But I think I have to actually start before so that it would actually contribute me to find job. It would be much easier. So for me it worked opposite probably, but I think it's better to learn at GDG while you are a student, or I don't know, beginning of your career, so that you learn before actually you need it.
Yeah, we try to make it easy to get started. There's a lot of sort of open source talks out there, but some of the basics are, keep your changes in a single, commit or change set. Just focus on one thing. Don't come in and try to start changing everything, or, talk to us if you think that you want to come in and rewrite the whole app or something like that. If you find that you feel like you need to make a lot of changes, talk to us first, because we may have already another branch where we're making those changes. But if it's something small like a typo fix or a small little tweak, updating a link, then feel free to just send a pull request. You don't need to discuss anything. Okay, thank you guys very much for coming.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.